Oh, hey there. This is a cool car, man. Thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Ooh-wee, this thing does look fast. Pop that hood, I want to see the engine. Oh, sweet. I didn't know you played golf. We gotta play sometime. Nah, this is just here to hold up my hood. What? You gotta get that fixed, dude. Here are the tools you need to replace the hood struts on your Porsche 911 mid-year, 74 to 89. These very well could be the original struts to this car. There's a point at which that hood strut is just relaxed. See how there's a little bit of play in that? We just need to prop the hood up so there's no pressure on the pins that hold that strut in place. I think right about there is good. There's the upper pin. And pay attention to this washer because this often gets lost. This goes towards the inside of the strut. So this is a little rubber washer, don't lose that. That's the lower pin. I think it's the same as the upper pin. And now it's out. You need to vacuum this area a little bit. Now this guy here is the new one, and it's by Stabilus, and this is considered a heavy-duty unit. I'll put the part number here on the screen and the description below, but this one is supposed to be a little bit stronger than the original, which I think it's just gonna let it work longer. These tend to wear out pretty quick. This hood has been repainted, but it doesn't look like it's extra heavy. I mean, there's no major signs of Bondo or anything like that. It's just been repainted. I have that washer in place, so we're just gonna put that pin right through both the shock and the washer, if we can. So that washer really prevents this thing from flopping around. The washer goes to the inside, or at least that's how it was when I took it off. And I've seen some posts about this. You want to put the washer, towards the center line of the car. And then now we're just going to secure this down below. We might have to lift the hood up just a little bit to get that into its slot. And we'll try to put it back right in the kind of the same location it was, because we want that pin to slide right in there. And I'm just holding it with these real long reach pliers, and I'm just going to slip that in with the head of the pin going towards the outside. And then we're just going to take the weight of the hood and fluctuate it so that that piece can go right through there. You might need to use a mirror to kind of see where it needs to go. We just install with our fingers. Snaps over just like that. So that's the passenger side done, and it's practically holding up the hood with just the one side done. It's working really well. Now it's time to do this side, which there's a lot more stuff in the way here. In principle, it's the same, but the access is very difficult. So we'll do our best. If there's any tricks, I'll share them with you guys. But we still need the golf club. Pulling this upper one off is pretty easy. Just don't drop it. And there's a point where it's at slack, so we can just, wiggle that pin out, I think. There we go. Now, this side is missing that washer, and it might have fallen down in there, but I'll probably never find it again. So I need to either find a washer or make a washer that's going to fit that. So far, so good, but getting that lower pin out is going to be tough. I mean, that's it right there, but it's going to be really hard to get it out. Plus, the retainer is on the outside. I have my light, LED light, is usually on my head, but I just got it stuffed down in there so I can see. And there is a little bit of access between here. So I'm going to put my long screwdriver in that slot right there. I'm going to pry that clip back, and then I'm going to pull it with the hook tool. So I'm also using, my camera. So this is a boroscope camera. It's going to give me a view if I can't get to it from my regular sight. This will allow me to adjust that, and I can move this end around. It's not in the right place right now, but I can shift the position of what I'm looking at with this knob. So I think between those two tools, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to get it off. I'm going to take my watch off, kind of make myself as small as I can, and hope for the best. Okay, there's the clip. It wasn't attached very well. Looks like it's already stressed a little bit. So we'll put that on the table. And that's the pin. And there's the strut. And by the way, you should not be able to move them with your hands. This one is totally blown out. It has some pressure in it still, but the damping is really weak, and it's just a lot different than the brand new one. Can't budge this one. These things are really strong. I can't even move it with using the floor as a support. Now we have a choice at how we reinstall this piece. It's going to go in the same orientation, but we can put the pin in either way, from outside in or inside out. The passenger side is outside in. It's just a little bit more difficult to insert it from the outside, but it also makes putting the clip on a little easier. So the most difficult access is on the outboard side of that recess. So I'm gonna try to use those long pliers and put this in the opposite way I took it out. I think that's gonna make putting the clip on easier. We'll see. First attempt failed, but I have some less chunky pliers. Same long reach, but a little smaller. So we'll try these. Okay, I've switched methods again. Now I'm using vice grips, but the vice grips have these rubber tubes on them. Provides a little bit of grip, like that's pretty firm. So I'm going to use this along with the screwdriver to kind of push it in. Okay, this time I choked up on the pin a little bit. So now the head of the pin is proud of the jaws. So try that. Now the pliers have been released. I got the pliers are released, but I got the pin poking through and it's ready to receive the clip because the clip goes in that slot right there. Just using these long pliers again, grabbing the clip right there in the opening, and I think I can just shift it right on there. So now that that lower rod end is secured to the car and clipped in, it's not coming out. So it's much easier now to put the upper pin in. So I'm gonna get it started, but I don't have that rubber washer. I've looked for it down in this area, but being non-magnetic, the chances of retrieving it is pretty much impossible. So I'm gonna have to make one. So I'm just gonna temporarily put the pin in right now, just to test out the function of the shock absorbers, and then we'll ultimately get the washer in place. So I have to lift it up just a little bit to get those holes to line up. And we're almost there. There it is. I think the hood will hold itself. Nothing supporting the hood. It is now functioning. Yes. So when it's in the low position, there's very little force. It does tend to spring up, which is handy because you can put your hand here and lift the hood the rest of the way. But it's nice and damped. It's got very strong spring pressure, easily overcomes the weight of the hood. So this is as I wanted. That's perfect. And if you're interested in making one of these like I am, here are the dimensions of the original one. Inner diameter 250, outer diameter 700, thickness 200 thousandths. That's what I got. So I'm gonna make one of those real quick, get this project done. Here's the original and the redo side by side. They're pretty much the same. I did this one in 2 layers, but they're the same thickness. You know, I definitely could have bought these, but by the time you pay shipping and only order one thing, it's just a hassle for everybody involved. No vendor wants to ship 2 $3 items. So I like this laser. You can just kind of make stuff myself. I do gaskets, all kinds of crazy prototypes and stuff. Really handy. These are the tools I use just as a recap. The most difficult pin is the lower driver's side. So I use these vice grips with the tubing over the ends, kind of give it a little grip. Once I got the pin into the first sheet metal part of the hole, I used a couple pry tools to sort of just wedge it into position as I was wiggling the strut up and down. So if the pin was, you know, coming through, I would just wiggle it up and down, and then I would use something like this to just, you know, pry it in. And I also use this long screwdriver as well. This guy has a magnet on the end. That was important for every time I drop something. And then, of course, you know, good lighting and my glasses. This was the hood prop, my golf club. You know, I did take some video with it, but it also has a pretty nice light on the end. So that light was able to direct it right where I needed it to be. So if I wasn't recording video, I was using it as a light. So this is a useful tool for all kinds of things. I'll put a link to the description of that below. A small little scrape, nothing too big. I don't like wearing gloves. I think it would have made it harder to do that job with gloves, at least in my opinion. But other than just dirt, pretty much got by without major injury. I replaced the strut on this, and it is so much better. It works great. Some cars have 2 struts, mine only has 1. So if you have 1 and you have the air conditioning system in place like I do, plus I have that 3rd brake light, I think you need the heavy duty. It is working great. Let's hope it lasts longer than the previous one did.
Hey, you know the engines are in the back, right? No? Well, enjoy your golf game.